Preparing for a Java Backend, Spring Boot, Kafka Engineer role? This video is your ultimate interview revision guide covering all the key concepts asked in real interviews. Java Core 17+? Let me start with Java Core, because this is the foundation for backend engineering roles. In Java 17, some important features include records, sealed classes, enhanced switch expressions, and stronger encapsulation. These features improve code readability, maintainability, and security. A common interview question is about records versus normal classes. Records are mainly used as immutable data carriers and reduce boilerplate code by automatically generating constructors, getters, equals, hashcode, and toString methods. Another classic question is the difference between final, finally, and finalize. Final is used to restrict change, finally is used in exception handling, and finalize was related to garbage collection but is now deprecated. Interviewers may also ask about JVM memory structure. The key areas are heap for objects, stack for method calls and local variables, metaspace for class metadata, program counter register, and native method stack. Spring Boot. Spring Boot is one of the most important skills in this role because it helps in building production-ready Java applications quickly. The main advantage of Spring Boot is convention over configuration. It reduces manual setup and provides embedded servers like Tomcat, so applications can run independently. One important concept is auto-configuration. Spring Boot automatically configures beans based on dependencies available in the class path. This makes development faster and easier. Interviewers also ask about annotations like component, service, and repository. Technically they are similar, but they are used to define roles clearly. Service is for business logic, repository is for persistence, and component is a generic stereotype. Another common question is about starters. Spring Boot starters are dependency bundles such as Spring Boot Starter Web or Spring Boot Starter Data JPA, which simplify project setup. Microservices. Microservices are central to this job description, so it's important to explain them clearly. Microservices are small, independently deployable services, each responsible for a specific business capability. They communicate using REST APIs or event-driven messaging. Compared to monolithic architecture, microservices offer better scalability, independent deployment, and flexibility in technology choices. However, they also bring challenges like distributed communication, latency, monitoring complexity, and data consistency issues. A common question is service discovery. In microservices, services need a way to locate each other dynamically, and this is usually done with tools like Eureka or Kubernetes Service Discovery. Interviewers may also ask about challenges. The main ones include handling distributed transactions, fault tolerance, network failures, and maintaining observability across services. Kafka Core. Kafka is a critical part of this role because the JD specifically mentions event-driven systems. Kafka is a distributed event streaming platform used for building real-time data pipelines and asynchronous communication between services. A topic in Kafka represents a category of messages, and partitions allow parallel processing and scalability. Producers publish messages to topics, while consumers read them. Another important concept is offset. Offset is the unique sequence number of a message within a partition, and consumers use offsets to track progress. In interviews, it is good to explain Kafka not just as a messaging system, but as a durable, scalable streaming platform that supports high throughput. Kafka Advanced. After the basics, interviewers often move to advanced Kafka concepts. A consumer group is a group of consumers working together to process messages from a topic. Kafka distributes partitions among consumers in the same group, which enables scalability and load balancing. Exactly once semantics is another advanced topic. It means Kafka ensures that messages are processed only once without duplication or loss, typically using idempotent producers and transactional APIs. ISR stands for in-sync replicas. These are replicas that are fully caught up with the leader and are important for reliability and fault tolerance. Interviewers may also compare Kafka with RabbitMQ. Kafka is better for event streaming, log-based data pipelines, and very high throughput, while RabbitMQ is more suited for traditional queuing and message routing use cases. REST API design. REST API design is an essential backend skill. REST stands for Representational State Transfer, and it is an architectural style for designing stateless web services using HTTP methods. The most common methods are GET for reading data, POST for creating resources, PUT for updating, and DELETE for removing resources. A common interview topic is idempotency. An operation is idempotent if performing it multiple times gives the same result. For example, GET and PUT are usually idempotent, while POST is generally not. Another concept interviewers may ask about is HTOAs, where API responses include links to related actions or resources, enabling better navigation. When answering REST questions, it is helpful to mention clean resource naming, proper status codes, validation, and versioning. Database and NoSQL. This role also mentions NoSQL and MongoDB, so this is an important area. SQL databases are relational and structured, while NoSQL databases are designed for flexible schemas, scalability, and handling large volumes of semi-structured data. MongoDB is a popular document-oriented NoSQL database where data is stored in JSON-like BSON documents. It is useful when schema flexibility and horizontal scaling are important. Indexing is another common interview topic. Indexes improve query performance by reducing the amount of data scanned, but they also add storage and write overhead. CAP theorem is also often asked. It states that in a distributed system, you can only fully guarantee 2 out of 3 properties: consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. In practice, distributed databases make trade-offs depending on system requirements. Docker and DevOps. Modern backend roles require DevOps awareness, and Docker is one of the most common tools. Docker is a containerization platform that packages an application along with its dependencies, making it portable across environments. Compared to virtual machines, Docker containers are lightweight because they share the host OS kernel, while VMs run a full operating system. CI/CD is another standard interview topic. Continuous integration means merging and testing code frequently, and continuous deployment or delivery means automating release pipelines. DevOps is more than tools, it is a culture of collaboration between development and operations teams, focusing on automation, reliability, and faster delivery. In interviews, mentioning Docker files, container orchestration, and pipeline automation gives a stronger answer. Cloud, GCP. This role specifically mentions cloud orientation with GCP, so candidates should be ready for cloud questions. GCP, or Google Cloud Platform, provides infrastructure and managed services for building scalable applications. Common services include Compute Engine for virtual machines, GKE for Kubernetes, Cloud Storage for object storage, and pub/sub for messaging. Autoscaling is a key concept. It automatically increases or decreases resources depending on demand, which helps optimize performance and cost. Load balancing is used to distribute traffic across multiple instances, improving availability and fault tolerance. A strong answer here should connect cloud concepts back to microservices and distributed systems. Backend engineering. This slide focuses on core backend engineering practices. Thread safety means ensuring code behaves correctly in multi-threaded environments without race conditions or inconsistent results. Caching is another important topic. It improves performance by storing frequently accessed data in memory, reducing database or API load. Rate limiting helps protect APIs from overuse or abuse by controlling the number of requests allowed in a given time period. API gateway is commonly used in microservices as a single entry point for routing, authentication, rate limiting, and request aggregation. Interviewers like candidates who can explain these concepts with practical examples from production systems. Quality engineering. Quality engineering is explicitly mentioned in the JD, so testing concepts are very important. Unit testing verifies small pieces of code like methods or classes in isolation, while integration testing checks how multiple components work together. TDD, or test-driven development, means writing tests before implementation. This encourages better design and ensures requirements are clear from the start. Code coverage measures how much of the application code is exercised by tests. However, high coverage alone does not guarantee good quality, so meaningful test cases are equally important. Mocking is used to simulate dependencies such as databases or external APIs so that tests remain isolated and predictable. In interviews, it helps to mention tools like JUnit and Mockito when discussing testing. React, Fullstack awareness. Although this is primarily a backend role, the JD mentions React Fullstack, so some front-end awareness is useful. React is a JavaScript library for building component-based user interfaces. Hooks are functions like useState and useEffect that allow functional components to manage state and lifecycle behavior. Virtual DOM is React's mechanism for efficient rendering. Instead of updating the real DOM directly, React first updates a virtual representation and then applies only the necessary changes. Interviewers may also ask REST versus GraphQL. REST uses multiple endpoints for resources, while GraphQL provides a single endpoint where clients can request exactly the data they need. For backend candidates, the expectation is usually awareness rather than deep front-end expertise. AI and GHCP, LLM usage. This JD also highlights AI-assisted development and LLM usage, which is increasingly relevant in modern engineering roles. LLMs can be used for code generation, test case creation, debugging assistance, documentation, and improving developer productivity. Prompt engineering means giving clear and structured instructions to the model so that the output is more accurate and useful. AI-assisted coding tools like GitHub Copilot can speed up development, but they should always be used with proper review and validation. Interviewers may ask about risks. The major risks include hallucinated code, security issues, licensing concerns, and poor quality suggestions if outputs are accepted blindly. A strong answer shows that AI is a productivity enhancer, not a replacement for engineering judgment. Scenario-based questions. This slide covers practical scenario-based questions, which are very common in experience-level interviews. If asked how to design a scalable Kafka-based system, I would mention proper topic design, partitioning strategy, consumer groups, idempotency, retry mechanisms, and observability. If asked how to handle failures in microservices, I would talk about circuit breakers, retries with backoff, fallback mechanisms, timeout management, and distributed tracing. For API performance optimization, I would mention caching, asynchronous processing, pagination, query optimization, and load balancing. For debugging production issues, I would focus on logs, metrics, distributed tracing, dashboards, and root cause analysis. Scenario-based answers should always be practical and structured. Behavioral plus delivery discipline. The final slide focuses on behavioral and delivery discipline, which are important in real interviews. For handling tight deadlines, a good answer is to prioritize tasks, communicate risks early, break work into increments, and focus on delivering the highest value items first. To ensure code quality, I would mention peer reviews, automated testing, coding standards, static analysis, and continuous integration. For agile experience, I would explain participation in sprint planning, stand-ups, backlog grooming, demos, and retrospectives. For ownership, I would give an example of taking responsibility end-to-end, from requirement clarification to implementation, deployment, and post-production support. Interviewers look for accountability, communication, and consistency in delivery, not just technical skills. Thanks for watching. Like the video, comment your questions, subscribe for more interview prep content.